Today is December 14th, 2021. This is Mordecai, host of the updates, bringing you your daily Elden Ring update. There is a ton of news about Elden Ring today. Okay, so we have a new tweet, a whole magazine cover, and a PSA about some jailbroken stuff to warn people about. So let's jump right in, starting with today's tweet, which says that Godwyn's fall was not without presage. Before the Black Riders, there were whispers. Presage means a warning or an omen, perhaps a fell omen. I believe the first part could be alluding to an earlier tweet about Margit, which stated that his birth symbolized another ominous sign for the royal family. So clearly, the signs were there since tension had been building up for a while, as people were conspiring against Queen Marika and her children with these whispers. And once the Rune of Death, potentially the source of their power, was stolen, it ultimately led to their downfall, starting with Godwyn. So the question becomes why? Why were people conspiring against the royal family? Why was the Elden Ring shattered immediately after Godwyn's death? What role does Margit play in all this? These are all questions I want answers to, and perhaps we may get some in an upcoming Edge magazine issue focused on Elden Ring. There'll be an issue published this February headlined with a 16-page Elden Ring cover story, which will be featuring an exclusive interview with Miyazaki that explains the process behind the game's creation, how it compares to Dark Souls, the challenges of open world design, and why he never plays his own games when they're finished. Miyazaki also talks about the character on the issue's cover, how he fits into the game, and George R. R. Martin's contribution to the project, along with the importance of the Earth Tree. And I don't know about you, but I think there's a good chance that this guy on the cover isn't Godwyn, but instead it's Godfrey, who we know from an item description to be the first Elden Lord. And I would think Godric is keeping a painting of the first Elden Lord in his castle as opposed to a painting of his dead brother whose identity he's trying to steal. Though I could see it going either way. Anyway, this Edge magazine issue apparently ships in January. For me, it's said that it's shipping in February, so we shall see who gets it first. But either way, I think the digital copy will be the one available the soonest. It's funny how the other day I mentioned that we hadn't gotten a Miyazaki interview in a while, and now we're getting two of them, one in the Edge magazine and one in the Elden Ring Overture MOOC, which by the way is being sold by PlayAsia.com as well, so you can pre-order it there and it ships internationally as it's still in stock. So yeah, we'll talk about those magazines when they come out next month. Anyway, in some other news, I have a bit of a public service announcement to make. So, when the Elden Ring network test came out last month, the latest PS4 firmware at the time was version 9.0. And on Sunday of this past week, that PS4 firmware was officially jailbroken and released publicly. So what does this mean for us exactly? Well, if you happen to have a PS4 on that firmware or older with the Elden Ring network test installed on it, you can jailbreak the PS4, dump the game, and take a look at the network test files. This has already been happening over the last 2 days with people data mining some stuff, which includes character models, lines of code, and some voice files. I don't think it's in my place to showcase any of this since I'm not the one data mining it or anything, and it would be a breach of the terms of service of the network test, and it wouldn't be respectful to the developers to showcase stuff they don't want us to see that's outdated and placeholder content. And there are some spoilers that I don't want to expose myself and others to, so I hope you can understand. But I just wanted to make an announcement about this that you should be aware of it since some things will be floating around on the internet. From what I've looked at, it seems most of the stuff is contained to what we saw in the network test itself, as it doesn't include much beyond it. Like, there aren't future cutscenes or anything in there. But there are some unseen character models and dialogue that's been data mined, so you should beware. I know the subreddit already banned any of it, so you're not gonna find it there. If you're really curious, you can probably find it on 4chan's VBoard. But personally, I think the biggest implication of this is that if you have the network test and a jailbroken PS4, and you know how to bypass the network check when you launch the game, then you can be playing the network test version right now, running it offline. That patch that bypasses the network check is what I'm most interested in right now, because it effectively means anyone can be playing the network test offline for as long as they want. So yeah, I just wanted to make a bit of a PSA about this in case you weren't aware, as it appears the Elden Ring news cycle is never quiet, and it's always more eventful than the shattering of the ring itself was these days. So for now, this has been your daily Elden Ring update for December 14th, 2021.